Thank you very much, Master, Madam, Master of Ceremonies. Love in any language comes from the heart. People of Tabernacle, people of St. Kitts and Nevis, Team Unity loves you. And it comes from our heart. It's very important that we always know that. The Team Unity movement is about people. We care about you. I want this evening to start by recognizing my cabinet colleagues and especially our Chairman of Cabinet, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. I should also mention that since we are here in Edgar T. Morris Primary School in Tabernacle, that he is the Member of Parliament for constituency number 7, Bellevue all the way over to Atlas. Harris again. I would also want to recognize the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean Kenneth Richards, Member for number 5, Fig Tree, Sandy Point, Fig Tree. And at the head table, we have the leader of the Warriors from the East, the Honorable Patches Liebert, member for number 1. I'd want also to recognize my other cabinet colleagues, the Honorable Senator Wendy Phipps, who is here with us, as well as Cabinet Secretary Josephine Huggins. And I want to recognize our Ambassador Michael Powell, who is here, senior public figures. I note and recognize Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Osmond Petty. Of course, don't let me get away by not recognizing our Deputy Speaker, the lovely Akila Byron Nisbet, Senator Akila Byron Nisbet, who is here with us. Fellow citizens, good evening. The Team Unity administration, our government of national unity, came to office on February 18th, 2015. We came to office with a promise to make things better in this country. And oh, how have we delivered? I want to ask a simple show of hands. How many of you have gotten your roofs fixed from the Hurricane Relief Fund? All over this country, ordinary citizens. They can be PAM, they can be Labour, they can belong to any party, are getting their house roofs fixed. In this country today, thousands of people. It ain't no party business. It's about country. It ain't about Labour. It ain't about PAM. Some of the loudest critics of this government on the radio, on Freedom Every Day, get their houses fixed under Team Unity. The promise of the Team Unity movement was that regardless of whether you're from Labour, you're from PAM, you're from NRP or CCM, or to belong to no party, every citizen in our country will get the benefit of our government. And oh, how have we delivered? Things going good in this country. And never forget that. Lest we forget, when Team Unity came, when it was born on the premise that the economy was bad. In 2010 to 2015, we had some very bad years. In 2010, we had to start doing things. We put VAT on food on the people, 17% tax went across everything in this country. everything got 17% tax in this country. One time, electricity went up 86%. Water, people who never see a meter yet, suddenly get a meter. And those who had meters went up 600% in this year country. That's what happened. Even churches got a haircut. Monies that the government had for churches was slashed 50%. This in this country, and it ain't so long ago. We must never forget these things. Lest we forget, the economy was horrible. And you know what had to happen? Our country went to the dreaded IMF for money, for help. Never happened before. We borrowed over $200 million from the IMF and had us in our throat. And we can say today that under the astute leadership of the man from Tabernacle, Harris again, the IMF get paid out. We don't owe them 1 penny today. We take off the VAT off of food, funeral expenses, medicines, educational supplies gone, poof. We remove that. We bring down the debt. You know, back in 2010, 2011, St. Kitts and Nevis was the second most indebted country in the world. In the world. Not so long ago, under Denzel Douglas administration. We must never forget that. Suddenly things good with them, I didn't know what to do. But they didn't know then. That was one of the foundations of what brought Team Unity together. But there was something else too. There's something else as well. Because I joined the parliament in 2010. And between 2010 and 2015, March 2010 to February 2015, we were governed badly by the Denzel Douglas administration. We did not have a deputy speaker for 5 years, and we are passing laws. And it is questionable about that constitutionally. We should never forget what happened in December 2012, the 11th of December 2012. The leader of the opposition, Brantley, Richards, Hamilton, put on Vincent, filed a motion of no confidence with the speaker. And for 26 months, 2.5 years, it ain't seen the light of day in the parliament. We were refused to have what the Constitution says is the right of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Richards, all of them signed a letter. Timothy Harris too, and Sam Conda signed a letter to the then Governor General. We support Harris as the most favored person to be Prime Minister. And for 26 months, they wouldn't do nothing about it. Our democracy had gone down the drain. Things was not happening in this country. And Team Unity was found dead. And came to the people and said, 2 things. We have a prosperity agenda for you. A prosperity agenda. We could turn things around. We came and said we want to restore democracy in this country. A good governance agenda. And today, fellow citizens, today, we can say that Team Unity has delivered in 3.5 years. Never forget that. We have done it in record time. St. Kitts and Nevis is the envy of every one of the other OECS. We are the envy of the others in CARICOM. We are the envy of so many things. I just want to mention one quickly. The chairperson made the point that in 2016, St. Kitts was recognized for being an advanced, one of the best countries for information and communications technologies, ICTs. I had the privilege and honor to represent St. Kitts and Nevis in Botswana, in Africa, to receive 2 awards out of 3. They only gave 3 awards. The International Telecommunications Union. 175 countries. South Korea got 1 for being #1 in the world. And on that stage, St. Kitts and Nevis took the other 2 awards. We were regarded for that year, 2016, as the #1 country in the world, the most dynamic in ICTs, under the leadership of Timothy Harris. This country was able to deliver for you, the people, the type of advances in ICTs that other countries in the region don't know about and can't cope with. Let me tell you some of the things that we have done in ICTs. We have put a brand new refurbished National ICT Center at Ponds Industrial, C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park. There we have something like 40 technicians that operate with an innovation hub, software developers that do software for all sorts of things on different departments and so forth. We train hundreds of public servants and private citizens in various aspects of computers, technology, and so forth. It is dynamic. It's happening right here in your country. It was not happening before. This is what we do every day in this country for the people of this country. And we ain't got no backwards, no going back, always forward. And that's what we're doing in this country. We have, since then, the last 2-3 years, we have hooked up nearly every government building in Bastille, in our country, with a connection of the internet, so that data, voice, can be transmitted in our country today. First class country. We're punching way above our weight. Huh? We ain't taking it easy. Huh? We know what we're doing. And I must give a big shout out for the cable company. Huh? Today, the government controls 99% of the cable. Huh? And we have good things for you coming. Today, we have a fiber network around this country, linking up every village. And we will be putting fiber to the home over the next 3 years. People will be able to get fiber, broadband, and wired. So you can take down anything anywhere in the world. You want your Netflix? You want your movies or whatever it is around the world? You'd have that option. We have been able to revitalize that thing. Right now, for the last 35 years, the cable has been giving you fuzzy, analog TV. Within the next few months, you're going to be getting digital, high-definition TV. We will be moving forward. We are modernizing this country through ICTs. And the Minister of Education talking about it, and I want to tell you that we expect in our ICT ministry that over the next year, 2 years, students who come to this primary school and every primary school in our country will start to learn how to write code for internet, for the computers. We will create a computer literate society that your children and businesses and teaching institutions will be just as good as anywhere in the world and better. We will not rest on our laurels. We were #1 in the OECS last year and the year before, and we will be that next year as well. We'll continue to build. But today I want to talk about the good governance part of the agenda team unity spoke about. Because we have done some legislation over the last 3 years that is starting to transform this country. We understand that there is a serious problem of crime in this country. The Deputy Prime Minister speak about it and how some people are trying their best to stoke it up and do things to hold back the forward progress of the country, the forward movement. But we have been passing legislation very early to be able to combat some of those things. I just want to tell you some of the legislation we have passed. We have gone and passed an amendment to the Evidence Act. That's the act that when you go to the High Court and you're giving evidence, you must conform to certain rules and regulations. And the amendment that we introduced was to make provision for witnesses who are hostile, who don't want to cooperate. So we tried to get better rules, better regulations for that. We have introduced laws, a new law, a new amendment to the Act of Anti-Terrorism. And we want to extend the definition of terrorist activity. You hearing about what's happening in the States. We have all sorts of people shooting up church and shooting up this. That type of terrorism activity. We don't need that in our country. We have the crime going, but we will not tolerate in this country any terrorism. And so we'll bring the laws to ensure that our security forces will be able to use them to cope with any such out of order nonsense. We have passed amendments to the criminal procedure laws. We have passed amendments to the Firearms Act. We have increased the fines so that people got firearms illegally and are found with that. You're going to pay much more money. We're increasing. We would like to increase. But then they tell the court, say that we can't tell them what is a minimum charge. But we would like the sentences to increase. Too many people have illegal guns in this country. And we have to do whatever we can to curb it. Because we need people to feel safe in our country. You're doing better. We're doing better. But we must do better at the whole idea of this nonsense of people who don't want to obey the law, living and working in our country. One of the pieces of legislation they passed, the amendment to the Bail Act, we were very proud of. Because in that one, we also increased the sanctions involved. If somebody had on bail already, say for gun crime, and they get picked up again for another gun crime, that we make it very difficult for them to get bail. You can't be on bail on the one hand and then go out on bail and going to use another thing with a gun again. That don't make sense. In that same act, we were able to introduce something for the first time, and we have to operationalize it. That we now have the ankle bracelet. That you on bail, we want you to strap on a bracelet that can be monitored anywhere you go. We must know where you're home and where you go out. So these are some of the laws that we intend to work with, to buttress what the police are doing, what the security forces are doing, to give them the laws, to help them, to improve the situation with crime. And we'll continue to do so. We have gone forward and introduced, changed the whole idea of how people get to the High Court. And I'm talking about something called the preliminary inquiry. If you get charged by the police for a serious crime, and this is a crime that has to go up to the High Court to be tried, right now, you go before a magistrate to more or less go through all the evidence. They have to take it longhand. It could take weeks of a trial almost. And then what is that done? They then do depositions that go to the DPP. He has to do an indictment before he gets to the High Court. And some people, it takes time, too much time, before the person gets to trial. What happened to the victim in all that time? Imagine, for instance, if it's a rape or some sort of sexual thing, and the child 11, 12. So when you get to try this matter, the girl 16 and 17 and look big, it ain't the same thing. So we have to find ways to improve the laws to ensure it. And what we have done is we have said that we are replacing the preliminary inquiry by paper committals. By that we mean the magistrate now will skim the documents and prepare them, and it goes to what we want to introduce, a new criminal division in the High Court. So that now, and we are working with the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice has asked us, has agreed with us, that they are considering putting a master in the High Court to look at these papers. Right now, if you go before the magistrate and say, "a guilty," the magistrate can't take the guilty plea and sentence you, She has to take everything still and send you up to the High Court judge to do it. The master will now be able to take that plea to sentence you. And we feel that this is to make the system more efficient. And that will be coming shortly, very, very shortly. And I should add from that, move swiftly into the other part of what we are doing with this whole administration of justice in our country. Because we have made some very significant changes. We have, for the first time in St. Kitts, in the St. Kitts circuit, 2 High Court judges. Never before. Resident here, sitting here. We have 1 judge who deals with criminal matters, 1 judge dealing with civil matters. You got a dispute in land, you got a dispute in terms of divorce and matrimonial causes. We call those civil. But criminal matters. You know what happened when we got to office in 2015? You used to try criminal matters 3 times a year. You call them assizes. January, May, and September, October. You'll go for like 2-3 months. And when I got to office in May 2015, the May assizes had 36 matters on the docket. Only 4 were able to be completed. So 32 matters were traversed, sent up to the September assizes. And they added on some more on top of that. So in that September, we had 40-something. The judge, the trial judge, could hear Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before jury a matter. And on Friday, he got to do his civil work. So on a Friday, you have an application for this, a little dispute with that. A judge could do 25 on average matters on a Friday. So he's doing the trials in the week, and he's doing the civil matters on a Friday. And it just wasn't working out. There was a big backlog because more and more people come into the system. We have been able, for the first time in this country, to build a 2nd court chamber in the Limo complex. We now have 2 chambers, and we now have 2 judges. And I could tell you this, the DPP has told me this week that now we have the 2nd criminal court chamber. We don't have no assizes in St. Kitts. All year round we're doing cases now. And between September, when the court come back from its vacation, till today, he has been able to do 6 matters out of 16 on the docket. We have brought them down. There are only 16 there since September. We have done 6 of them. They're adding them. But we are managing it now to be much better. But we're not satisfied with that. We're not satisfied with that. Because what we have is that we will make sure that we improve the way in which we deliver justice. I want very quickly to tell you something else what we're doing in terms of the administration of justice, what we do in legal affairs in this country. Because there was so much work coming and going, we now have 2 judges. We determined to develop our land registry. People buy a piece of land. They go to a lawyer. They try to get a title. But it could take them a long time. And it get hold up in the court. Because the court have to do all these different things. And we have been able to create, since last year we passed a new law, the Land Registration Act. We have now appointed a new registrar for lands. We have cut out the part dealing with lands, with titles, and that is now being dealt with by a separate land registry. It will help the banks, it will help the people who want to build, it will help everybody to improve the speed and make us more efficient as a country. We have been able to have our legal aid clinic do a lot of work, and you all must listen out for that. Because over the last 2 years, we have had more than 70 legal aid clinics have gone around this island. They've come to Tabernacle a couple of times. They go to St. Paul's, they go all over. Where those of you who can't afford to go to look for a lawyer can get assistance with land matters, with maintenance matters, various matters, to get help for us to help you when you have those things. My time is coming up, so I want to tell you just about quickly, intellectual property. What does that big word mean? There got some guys that sing, Calypso, Infamous, Nietzsche B, and all these guys. They're making songs, there's music playing. And people playing them on radio stations all over the place. And they can't get money for it. That is what we call intellectual property. You put your mind, you compose something. It's not only in singing. Some of you might make hot sauce and bottle it. You need to register it. And you can go to intellectual property offices to get it registered. So if people want to use what you have composed and what you have done, they should pay you for it. And so we want to develop that as well to help you. I want, quickly as I end, to tell you that Team Unity is doing a lot of things. A lot of things. We will be, before the end of this year, be building on the Lee Llewellyn Moore complex, judicial complex. We will be adding an annex to that complex. We'll be putting a 3rd magistrate court right there where the old electoral office used to be. And so we'll be looking at family matters, traffic matters, to help people speed up the process of the magistrate's court. We'll put on something on top of it, where we'll now have a mediation center, where we will be training some 25 professionals, accountants, engineers, and so on, who will be trained by the court and certified by the court, so that if you have a matter, a dispute with your neighbor, and you want to go to court, before you go to court, you could find a way to settle it in mediation. So we'll have a mediation center there to help the administration of justice, to move it forward. And finally, we'll also have, for lawyers and for the public who need it, a law library built in that same complex. So we are doing a lot of things. These are just some of them. And we must say, the people of St. Kitts, we need your support. We need you to continue, because things going good. They're going real good. They're going good. The Prime Minister can tell you about the $500. He can tell you about the health insurance. He can tell you about all them good things. And don't bother with the naysayers. They're bad news. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. And keep on with Team Unity. Thank you very much.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. and watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.